Okay, so before the break, we went over how to find remainder, right? Without doing any division, okay? So how is that going to help us do factoring, okay? Our goal is try to factor something like this with Q, okay? So first thing is the factor theorem. So the factor theorem, it breaks up into two parts. Part one is to check, okay? You can write this down, okay? Part one is to check if it is a factor or not. Okay, so I will give you something and then you want to check if it's a factor or not. Okay, you'll get question like this. So for example, let's say you have a list of number, right? So let's say 2, 3, 5. Okay, which one of this is a factor of 10? Cindy? Which one is factor of 10?
2 and 5.
2 and 5, yeah, very good. Okay, so this is the kind of question they will ask you, but instead of numbers, right? Because this thing you learn probably in elementary school, right? Finding factors. But here you will be given the binomial instead. So for example, here they give you y minus 1. They want you to check if it's a factor of the polynomial. Okay, so that's the kind of question you'll see here. So part one is to help you check if it's a factor or not. Okay, so let's use the number to understand this. We know 2 is a factor of 10, right? And 5 is also a factor of 10. So if it's a factor and we divide it, okay, let's say 10 divided by 2. If I divide it by a factor, what's the remainder for that? Donna? When we take 10 divided by 2, what's the remainder?
0.
0, right? Remainder will be 0. Now if I divide it by, let's say divide by the other factor, divide by 5, remainder is also 0, right? If I divide by 3, which is not a factor, then remainder cannot be 0, right? So the idea is if the remainder give you 0, then we know it's a factor. Okay, so let's look at the sentence in the box. It should make more sense now. Okay, if the polynomial p of x is divided by this thing, right? This is the divisor. If I divide those two, has a remainder of 0, right? Which means p of divisor equal to 0, then the thing you divided by, okay, then this part is a factor. Make sense? Okay, if you divide by 5, remainder equal to 0, you know 5 is a factor, right? So you just check the dividing, check the remainder, okay, and that will be enough to determine, right? So over here, use the factor theorem to check if the binomial is talking about two terms, right? Binomial is a factor of the first one. So you just need to find the remainder, right? So we will find the remainder. For this one, it will be P of, so what number should we sub in to find remainder? Eric?
1.
Yeah, we will sub in 1, okay? So even though it's a y, it doesn't matter, it's just a variable, right? So we sub in the 1 into the y. So it will be 2 times 1 cubed, right? Minus 5 times 1 plus 2 times 1 plus 1. Okay, so what's the answer here? Tiana, what do you get?
0.
Yeah, okay, so that means it doesn't have remainder, right? So you can say y minus 1 is a factor. Okay, if it doesn't equal to 0, then it's not a factor. Okay, can you raise your hand if you understand this? E-Ray, Samantha, do you get it? E-Ray? Yeah, okay, so can you check second one? Okay, we want to check if 3x minus 1, is it a factor or not? Okay, so please raise your hand if you have the conclusion. So for this one, you might need your calculator, right? So Samantha, can you tell us what number do you sub in? What number do you sub in? Samantha?
Sure.
What number?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Okay. Eric?
1/3.
1/3. Yeah. Okay, you just take the divisor, make it equal to 0. Same as the way you find remainder before, right? Remember we repeat the sentence? Remainder equals P of divisor equals 0, right? So that's the number you sub in. So please raise your hand if you have found the conclusion, okay? So you can say 3x minus 1 is a factor, or you can say 3x minus 1 is not a factor. Okay, so Cindy, what do you think? Is it a factor or not?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, so is a factor. Factor. Okay, so if it's a factor, then the remainder should be 0 then, right? How about Elaine? What do you get?
It is a factor.
It is a factor. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's the kind of answer you will show on the homework. Okay, they will give you a polynomial, and then and also binomial, right? Ask you to check if it's a factor or not. Okay, so when you show the work, you just show me like what you see on the screen. Okay. All right. Now, second part. Just checking if it's a factor or not is not very useful, right? We need to know what number to check, right? So the second part is to help us, let's write that down, okay? To find, right? Part 2 is, we can use part 2 to find the first, find one of the factors, okay? Let's write that down. Find one of the factors. Okay, like over here on the top, right? We know y minus 1 is a factor, but how do I know y minus 1 is the 1, right? Why not y plus 2, right? So we need to know a way so then we can find one of them, all right? So the way to figure that out is to know one number when we sub in can make it equal to 0, right? So think about it, right? If I have 1/3 and it works, then we can go write the factor out, right? Look at the arrow. Oops. Right? Going backwards, right? We need to know what number, if I put it in, can make it equal to 0, right? If it's 1/3, then the factor is 3x minus 1. If it's 1, then we know the factor is y minus 1, okay? So part 2 is to try to figure out what number to sub in. So it will make it equal to 0. So this involves some guess and checking, okay? But at least you're not guessing randomly, okay? There are some rules here. So the number to check is b over a, okay? b over a here. So for example, like the one we just did, right? If you did 1 over 3 and you sub it in, you get 0. That means your b is 1, right? b is 1. 3 is the a, right? b over a. So your factor will be 3x minus 1. Okay, we're trying to go backwards. All right, now the choices for a and b. B will be the factors of, okay, so you need to write this down. B is one of the factors of the constant term. Okay, I'll use the example down here. Here we have a polynomial, okay? Look at question 9a, okay? The number, the term, you have 4 terms here, okay? The term that doesn't have the variable is called a constant term, okay? So this one is the constant term, 36, okay? So the b will be the factors of 36. So that's quite a lot, right? So 36, think about what numbers multiply can make 36. You could have 1 and 36, right? 2 and 18, okay? We go from small to big. And then 3 and 12. Okay, what's the next one? Cindy?
6 and 6.
6 and 6, you're skipping one. Anything before that?
9.
Huh?
4 and 9.
4 and 9, yeah. 4 and 9, very good. And then you have the 6 times 6. So these are all the factors of 36 because they are all divisible. And also plus minus. Okay, plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 3, and so on. All right, so those are the possible choices for B. All right, now A, to get the A, it will be one of the factors of the coefficient of the leading term. Leading term means the highest degree term, okay? The one that has the highest degree is x cubed, right? So the coefficient of that is 1, okay? So the A will come from the factors of 1. So in this case, it's just plus minus 1. Okay, so the B over A will be all the combination, okay? You look at the B, right? Plus minus 1 over plus minus 1, so that will be plus minus 1. And the next one, 2 over 1, right? B over A. And then 3 over 1, 4 over 1, 6 over 1, 9 over 1, okay? So because it's over 1, so it's the same as the B. So rather than guessing randomly, okay, these are the possible numbers that could give you 0. That could give you an remainder of 0. So from this list, you do guess and checking, okay? So if you get lucky, maybe you can get it right away, all right? So everybody take out your calculator. So let's try it out, okay? So we'll do P of, so pick from this list. It could be positive, could be negative, okay? So let's try one, okay? What's your favorite number? Eric, from this list, which one do you want to try?
12.
12, okay? And then we will sub it in, okay? P of 12. You want to see if it equals to 0, okay? Remainder has to be 0, right, to be a factor. So plug it in. Do you think it will become 0? Eric, did you get 0?
It did not.
Did not, okay, all right. Nope, okay, let's try another one. Tiana, pick a number.
3.
3, okay. So can you also plug it in? Everybody try it, okay? Plug it in. So did it work, Tiana?
No.
No, okay. So still doesn't work. Okay. Next one, let's have Iray. How about you? Can you pick a number?
-3.
-3. Okay, everybody plug into the calculator. So Donna, can you tell us what you get when you plug in -3? So 12 doesn't work, 3 doesn't work, -3. Does it work, Donna?
No.
Okay, so also not 0. Okay, then Donna, pick another number then.
6.
6. Well, this is hard to find, hey? We haven't got anything equal 0 yet. Okay, please plug it in. Plugging 6. So, Donna, did you get 0 for 6?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, okay, very good. Okay, so if 6 works, right? If 6 makes it equal to 0, remainder 0, then what is the factor then? How do we write out a factor? Cindy? What's the factor?
X minus 6.
Yes, okay, x minus 6. Because we are doing backwards, right? Think about this one. If 1 works, then it's y minus 1, right? If it's 1/3, then it's 3x minus 1, right? You are going backwards. Before was solve for divisor equal to 0. Now you want to go back, get the divisor, right? So x minus 6 is a factor. Okay, it's only one of them. There should be more than that, okay? So let's try the next one, okay? Question B. So same thing, we start with the choices for B, okay? So which number should we look at, Eric, to find B?
Factors of 4.
Yeah, factors of 4, okay? And what are they?
Plus minus 1, 2, 4.
Yeah, so only 3 this time, very good. Okay, now for factors of A, where do we get that then? Tiana?
6x cubed.
Okay, just look at the 6. So factors of factors of 6 will be what? Tiana?
Plus minus 1, 2, 3, 6.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay, now we want to write out B over A. The possible numbers that could make it equal 0. So you do combination, okay? You start from B, the first B, divide by the first A, right? And then second b over the first one, okay, 1 by 1. So for example, 1 over 1, right? 1 over 1, and then 2 over 1, and then 4 over 1, okay? Now we go to the second value for a, right? Second value, so now we finish the first one, right? And then the second one for the a is 2. So b over 2, right? So b over 2, so 1 over 2, 2 over 2, so that was the same as 1, so I don't need to repeat. Next one, 4 over 2, so that's the same as 2, right? So I already have that, so I don't need to do that, okay? So go on, okay? Now we move on to 3. When you finish listing, okay, please raise your hand. If you already have it, you don't need to write it again, okay? So just double check your list if anything that's the same, okay? Sometimes you reduce, right? You get the same thing. Right, let's check the list. So what's after what? Elaine?
What?
After 1/2, what's the next possible b over a?
1 over 3.
Yeah. Go on.
2 over 3.
Yeah.
4 over 3.
Over 3. Okay, so 3 is finished. Okay. And
Yeah,
then after this, Cindy, after 4 over 3, do we have any more?
Um, yeah,
Yeah, what is it?
1 over 6.
1 over 6?
Yeah.
Go on.
Wait, I think that's it.
That's it? How come? We
Because
still have the 2, right? 2 over 6.
that goes into 1 over 3, right?
Okay. How about 4 over 6?
2 over 3.
Over 3. Okay, good. So the other two, they are just the same as before. Okay. So total, you should have this. All right. So now from here, it's time to try your luck. Okay. So this time I won't call out your name. Okay. So I want you to all try it. Okay. So find out from this list which number, plug it in, can equal to 0. Okay. So if you have found one, please raise your hand. And then if you have found it, okay, you can write out what is a factor, okay? So not everybody will find the same one because there are probably more than one, okay? So maybe some of you find, let's say 1/3, right? Some of you maybe find 4 to work, right? So let's see if how many we can get. Hopefully not everybody get the same one, okay? Donna, Samantha, Ray, have you guys found the one? Okay, so let's check, okay, which one you found. Eric, what did you find?
I found 1 over 2.
1 over 2, okay. Anyone else got the different one? Tiana, which one did you find?
1 over 2.
Also 1 over 2, okay. Anyone got different ones?
I got 2.
2, okay. Anyone else? Anyone else find a different one? Cindy, what do you have?
I have both of those.
Both of those, okay. Did you get another one, Ray?
No.
No? No one got different ones? There should be another one. No one got different ones? Okay, that's okay. We'll just write these two, okay? So far, there should be one more, okay? But anyway, later we'll learn how to find the other ones, okay? So if 1 over 2 works, then how do you write out the factor? Tiana? What's the factor then?
6x minus 1/2.
Say that one more time. What did you say?
Oh wait, no. 2x minus 1.
Okay, okay. That's right, okay? So you have to put it back into, right, no fractions, okay, in the factor. Okay, now if 2 works, then what will be the factor then? Donna?
X minus 2.
Yeah, x minus 2, okay? So you need to know how to go backwards, right? Get the number that works and then put it into a factor. Okay, so we have all the skill that we need to factor cubic now. All right, so the next page is factor, okay? Factor completely. We are just going to do the left side, okay? Because the right side is similar question, okay? So each of the AC, right, A, C, E, they are different kinds of questions, even though they are all factor completely, okay? So later you'll see they are kind of different type. So the first one, right, when you get a question, it doesn't matter what type, right? You just take a look, and then we see that there's a B, right? This is the B, and then this is the A, right? So we know we need to do the B over A, all right? So let's write out B over A. Okay, first you got to figure out the B, and then you also need to figure out the A. Okay, then you can write out the B over A. So your step 1, okay, let's write down the step, okay? Put it in words. Step 1, you can say find a factor, okay? Using the factor theorem, find a factor. So please list them out first. All right, so Eric, can you tell us what are the choices for B over A?
Plus minus 1, 2, 3, 6.
Oh, okay, 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay, very good. And then we have to do the guessing and checking, right? So P of something has to be 0. Okay, so everybody try it. So you might be using different one. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, you just need to find one of them. So if you have found one, please raise your hand. Okay, you just need one. Okay, just need one. Okay, let's use erase choice then. Okay, erase, which one did you use?
-1.
-1. Okay, so if -1 works, that means what is the factor then? Donna?
X plus 1.
Yeah, x plus 1, okay, is a factor. Donna, did you also use -1?
No.
Use something else, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't matter, okay? You can write out your own. At the end, you'll end up the same answer, okay? So once you find the first factor, step 2, okay? Because it's a factor, that means the original question, it will equal to x plus 1 times something, right? Just like 10. The factor is 2, right? So it will equal to 2 times something, right? So to find the something, how do we find the missing bracket then? Cindy?
Divide?
Yeah, we need to do dividing, okay? So that's where the synthetic division comes in, okay? So let's write that down. Use synthetic division, okay? So we need to find the missing bracket, and the missing bracket is the quotient, right? X plus 1 is the divisor, right? If you use a different one, then you have different divisor, okay? It doesn't matter, okay? You'll get something, the quotient is different, it's okay, right? So just carry on. So for erase choice, outside you will be using -1, right? Inside number, okay, what are the coefficients for the dividend? Sienna?
1, 0, -7, -6.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so we'll use these numbers to divide. Okay, so we'll start with 1 drops down, right? And then multiply, cross, add, cross, and add, cross, and add. And as we expected, right? Remainder has to be 0. Okay, so what will be the quotient here then? Cindy, what's the quotient here?
X squared minus X minus X.
Yes. Okay. So we know that the quotient is x squared minus x minus 6. We can fill that out on the top here. Right? X squared minus x minus 6. Now, last step, we can write down factor again, if possible. Or you can say factor the quotient, okay? Factor Q if possible. So you look at x squared minus x minus 6. Can we further factor this into 2 brackets? So try it, okay? Let me know. Please raise your hand, okay, if you are able to factor the quotient. Okay, please raise your hand if you found the 2 factors. Okay, so Donna, what do you have? The 2 factors for the Q here?
X plus 2, X minus 3.
Yeah, x minus 3, right? So that means in total, you would have x plus 1 is the first factor you found, right? Maybe you found something else, it doesn't matter, right? And then at the end, after you factor the quotient, you get 2 extra ones. So overall, you will have these 3, okay? It doesn't matter which one you start, okay? If you start with x plus 2, then you will end up with x plus 1, x minus 3. Okay, it doesn't matter. Overall, it's the same. Okay, so your final answer will be x plus 1, x plus 2, x minus 3. That's your factor. Okay, understand? Any questions? Okay, so when you do the homework, make sure you go back and look at this example. Okay, question B is similar. Okay, you just need to do the same thing. Find the first factor and then divide it to get quotient. And if it's not factorable for the q, then you will just have the x plus 1 and the quotient. Okay, it will be the answer like on the top. Okay, you will just have 2 brackets instead of 3. All right, now let's look at question C. Okay, same steps. First one, find the first factor, and then once you found it, use number 2, okay, synthetic, and then factor if possible. Okay, this one will take a little bit longer because you get something like you get the a, right? A is not 1 this time. Okay, so b is here, coming out from here. A is coming out from 12 as well. Okay, so please list out the b over a and then try to find one of them. Okay, you just need one. So please raise your hand if you have found the fraction or the integer that works. Okay, but first list them out. Please raise your hand if you found a number that makes it equal to 0. So for the 12 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. What else? And 12, right? That's all. Okay, let's check the list. Okay, I want to see if your list is not missing anything. Okay, Cindy, what's your list of b over a?
All of them?
Yeah, all of them.
Oh, 1 over 2, 1 over 3, 1 over 4, 1 over 6, 1 over 12, 2, 3 over 3, 3, 3 over 2, 3 over 4, 4, 4 over 3, 6, and 12.
Okay, you say so fast. 4 and then what?
4, 4 over 3,
Uh-huh.
6, 12.
6, 12. Okay, thank you. Yeah, wow, that's a long list. Okay. So please find the one that works. Raise your hand if you found a number that works. It could be the positive or negative, okay? So if the positive doesn't work, you can try negative as well, okay? You just need one, okay? You don't need to try everything. Once you found the one that works, you move on to step 2, okay? Step 2, then you do the synthetic division. Whatever you found, you put it outside the bracket, outside the box, okay? Please raise your hand if you found the number that works. So far, only 2 people found it. Okay, Samantha, you found it? What's the number that works?
1/2.
Which one?
1/2.
1/2. Okay, so let's try it out, right? So 1/2, maybe you found, maybe some of you found different ones. Okay, it doesn't matter. Tiana, which one did you find?
1/2.
Okay, Cindy, how about you?
Negative 3/2.
Okay, let's just put that on the side. Okay, negative 3/2. I'll write it on the side. I'll circle it. Okay, so 1/2, negative 3/2. Okay, Ray, which one did you find?
1/2.
1/2. How about Donna?
Same.
Same. Okay, so let's try with 1/2 first. So put 1/2 outside. 12, 28, 7, negative 12. Okay, so please carry out the division. And then once you get the quotient, you see you can check if you can factor. Okay, so factor quotient if possible. So I'll let you finish all the way to the end. Okay, so when you get the factors, please raise your hand. And because the divisor here, it has a 2, right? So be careful. Think about what to do if there's a denominator. Okay, I want to check the quotient. Okay, I think by now you should have found the quotient, right? Okay, Eric, what do you have for the quotient?
12x squared plus 34x plus 24.
You said 34x? Is that
Yeah.
what? Yeah, and then plus what?
24.
24. Okay, let's double check with other people as well. Tiana, what do you have for the quotient?
6x squared plus 17x plus 12.
Okay. And Donna, what's your quotient?
Same as Tiana.
Okay, let's double check. Okay, so let's drop down the 12, right? So Eric, do you know if there's anything you forgot to do?
Yeah, divide by 2.
Yes, okay, so be careful there. We have a fraction in the divisor, right? In the number outside, you have to remember to divide. So that will give you 6 34, and then 17, 24, and then 12 ends up 0. You must make sure your remainder is 0, right? Because if it doesn't, right, then it contradicts with your step 1. So your final answer for quotient, you need to divide by 2. So quotient should be this one. Okay. Right, so next part, you want to see if you can factor this further. Okay, so looks like you should end up with 3 brackets. I don't know, is it factorable? Tiana, is it factorable?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so then you should end up with 3 brackets. Okay, so write your 3 brackets together in the red box. Okay. So raise your hand if you found the 3 brackets. Okay, Ray, have you finished the 3 brackets?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, please raise your hand. Okay, let's check one of the brackets. Okay, I mean the factor, okay? So, Cindy, can you tell us what's the one of the factors for the quotient?
2x plus 3.
2x plus 3, okay, so 2x and 3. So that means the other one will be 3x and 4 then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Donna, how about you? Do you have the same?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So the 3 brackets will be, okay, so what about the first bracket? If you get half, what's the factor then? Tiana, what's the first factor?
2x minus 1.
Yeah, 2x minus 1, and then after that, you just copy from the factors. 2x plus 3, 3x plus 4. Okay, so at the beginning, if you use other than 1/2, right? I think it was Cindy. Cindy used -3/2, right? So that means she found the 2x plus 3 first, right? And then the quotient will give you the other 2. So doesn't matter which one you start with, your final 3 brackets are the same, okay? Okay, last one here, question E. Okay, so I would like you to take a look. Question E, how is different from A and C? Okay, anybody can answer, okay? What do you see in question E? Yeah?
No constant.
No constant, yes. So what should we do then? If there's no constant, we cannot do B over A then, right? So how do we factor this? Anyone? Factoring. Ray, what do you think? How do I factor this if there's no constant?
GCF.
UCF, very good, excellent. Okay, Because your goal is try to factor, right? So you can start from the basic common factor, anything they have common factor, right? Anything in common. So Eric, what's the GCF here?
1.
What about variable? Anything that they
Oh, X. Yeah.
okay, so you can take the X out. If the coefficient is also GCF, you can also take that out as well. Okay, in this one, the coefficient is just 1, right? So you just take one X out. So you're left with X times by X squared plus minus 4X plus 4, right? And then you want to continue to see if it's factored more, right? Can be factored further. So equal. Okay, so can this be factored even more? Okay, if you finished it, please raise your hand. Okay, so Donna, what are the factors then? Donna, are you there?
X minus 2.
Yes, okay, X minus 2. Both of them X minus 2, so you could also write it together as a square, okay? So that's your final answer. So as you can see, these three, they are kind of different, right? Question A, the A is 1, right? So you start with, your choices is less, right? Easier to test it out. Question C, you have something with the A, right? A is 12, right? So you have a much longer list. And then question E, you don't need to use the factor theorem. You just start with GCF, okay? So just pay attention when you get a question. Think about whether it belongs to A or belongs to C or E, okay? These three types. It's always one of the three, all right? Last part that we can cover today is solving, okay? So you see this one is almost done. So the point of factoring eventually is to help us solve the equation, right? So for example, let's say if you get a question like question A, right? If the question is equal to 0, right? So equation means you want to find the x value that makes it equal to 0. So imagine that you did all this work and then factor the left side and you make it equal to 0. Then what you need to do to find x, you just solve each one, okay? X plus 1 equal to 0. So x is -1, right? And then x equal to -2, and then x equals to 3, right? So you need to factor it in order to find the answer, right, for the equation. So before, right, what we just did is only factor, okay? You don't need to solve. So make sure you read the question. Because I get this every year, right? The question says factor completely. But then your answer, you give it to me, you tell me x equal to -1, x equal to -2, then that's not correct, okay? You still get it wrong. If they say factor, then you leave the answer in brackets, okay? If they say solve, okay, like starting next page, the instruction is different. They say solve. Then your final answer should be x equal something, okay, instead of brackets, okay? So make sure you read the question properly, okay, whether you see the word solving, okay, solve. Okay, so there are two types, two scenarios that could happen. Let's look at type 1, okay, type 1. So we'll do the same thing, okay? We need to factor, okay? Find the first factor, find a factor. Okay, so you need to do b over a, and then p of something. Okay, after that, synthetic. Okay, and then after that, get the factors. Okay, so I'll let you try this out all the way to step 3. And then we'll talk about how to solve. Okay, we'll go from there. So raise your hand once you get to step 3. Okay, I will list out the b over a. Okay, this one is easier to list. 1 and 70, 2 and 35. Any more? 3 doesn't work. 4, 5. 5 can work, right? 5 and what? 14. 6, 7, 7 and 10. And I think that's it, right? 8, 9. Okay. So it's just integers, right? No fraction to try. So once you get to 3 brackets, please raise your hand. Okay, Cindy, what's the first number that makes it equal to 0? What did you use?
-7.
Okay, -7. Okay, I'll use that to start then. So -7, 1, 10, 11, -70. Okay, you guys can keep going if you haven't got to the 3 brackets. Okay, raise your hand if you get them. Drop 1 down. So -7, 3, -21, -10, 70. Okay. So that will give us the quotient is x squared plus 3x minus 10. Okay, Eric, what are the 3 brackets then?
I used a different number.
It's okay, you end up the same, right?
Okay. X plus 5, x plus 7, x minus 2.
X plus 5, x plus 7, and
X minus 2.
X minus 2. Yeah, it doesn't matter which one you start with. Your final 3 brackets should be the same. Okay? Tiana, any questions so far? Samantha, you got it? Okay, so now we got here, right? So if the question says factor completely, then you're done, okay? You box it and hand it in, okay? But because it says solve, then at the end of the 3 brackets, you need to add equal to 0. All right? And then you make each one equal to 0, x plus 7 equal to 0, so that can give us x equal to -7, right? Middle one has to be 0, so equal to -5. And last one is 2, okay? So you will be boxing the x value. So these are called the roots, okay? Or zeros, because these are the numbers that can make it equal to 0. Or if we later on, okay, next class we'll be talking about graphing, then these represents the x-intercept. Okay? So that's the difference between factor and solve. Okay, solve is to take one more step and solve for x. Okay, but you need to factor it first. Okay, let's do one more, right? We have type 2. Okay, see how it's different. So please proceed, right? Same thing. We're gonna do step 1, 2, 3. Okay, so find the factor, synthetic, okay, and then factor. This time, once you get to step 2, once you finish step 2, you can raise your hand, okay? We'll talk about step 3 together. Okay, please raise your hand if you finished synthetic division. Okay, let's check the list of B over A. Donna, what's your list for the B over A?
1, 3, 5, 15, 5 over 3, 1 over 3.
5 over 3 and 1 over 3?
Yeah.
1/3. Where did you get 1/3?
5/15.
5 but oh, it has to be b/a though.
Oh, dang it. 3. Oh, yeah. Okay.
B is coming from 15. A is coming from the 5. Okay.
And cancel the 1/3.
Actually, 5/3 it shouldn't be there as well. So what else is missing? 1, 3, 5, 15. What else?
Oh, 3/5.
3/5.
And
That's it.
I think so.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Then you just pick from there. All right. So erase. Which one works?
3.
3. Okay. So let's use 3 then. So 3 outside. So 5, -11, -17, and 15. Drop down 5. So 15 and 4. 12, -5, -15, 0. Yeah, it works. So our quotient is 5x squared plus 4x minus 5, right? And we want to do step 3 to see if it's factorable, right? So Eric, is this one factorable?
I don't think so.
Right, this one, right? That's why it belongs to type 2, okay? We couldn't go further, right? I cannot factor anymore. So step 3, you will only get 2 factors, right? So the first factor will be what, Cindy?
The x minus 3.
Yeah, x minus 3 is one of them, okay? And the second one will be what, Tiana? Tiana, what should go into the second bracket? Are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure.
Well, what did you get for the quotient?
I have the same thing.
Same thing, right? Is it factorable?
No.
No? Okay, then that will be the only factor. So you just take that and then put it into the second bracket. Okay, because that's the quotient, right? X minus 3 is the divisor, so dq, right? And then remainder is 0. So you only get 2 brackets. Okay, so since it's not factorable, you just get 2. If it's factorable, you get 3, then it's type 1. Right? So if the question says factor, then this is the answer. Okay, but because it's solving, we have to make it equal to 0 and solve each one. So how do we make the first bracket equal to 0? Donna? X has to be what?
3.
3, right? Because that coming out from the first bracket, you will get 3. Now from the second bracket, because it's a quadratic, right? And it's not factorable. How do we solve a quadratic equation that's not factorable? Does anyone remember from grade 11? Anybody can answer. How do we solve?
Quadratic formula.
Yeah, so we need a quadratic formula, okay? So does anyone remember the quadratic formula, what it looks like? Eric, do you remember the formula?
Negative b plus minus b square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a.
Yeah, okay. So please, everybody, plug that in, okay? Using the quadratic formula. Write out the brackets first, okay? So let's check the values. Okay, Cindy, can you tell us what's the value for ABC?
A is 5, B is 4, and C is -5.
Yep, very good. Okay, so please plug it in and simplify the things in the radical, okay? So once you get the final answer, please raise your hand.
And yeah, I'm missing 1 for the factor. It's 1/5.
Oh, 1/5. Okay, yes, you are right. Okay, I'll fill that in. Okay, so let's fill in the numbers now. Okay, so B is 4, right? B squared minus 4AC over 2A. Please raise your hand if you have simplified. So if the question says it wants decimal, then you need to type it into calculator. Okay, for the after you get the quadratic formula. But if it just say exact answers, then you just leave answer in the radical form. Okay. Anyone has trouble getting the simplified answer? Please raise your hand when you finished. Okay, Eric, what do you have?
I have -2 plus minus root 29 over 5.
Okay, Ray, how about you?
Yeah, I got the same.
Okay, Donna?
Yeah.
Yeah, the same. Diana?
Same.
Okay, yeah. So you can simplify this, right? This one, I think in top and bottom, they can all divide by 2, okay? So at the end, you get 3 answers still, right? You have the 3. You also have the adding, right? -2 plus, and the other one is the -2 minus, okay? So total, overall, you get 3 answers, okay? So that will be it for today. Next week, we can start on the graphing, okay? Using the x-intercept. So if you have